According to Erik Erikson, German-American developmental psychologist and psychoanalyst, a person's life can be broken down into 8 psychosocial developmental stages: infancy, early childhood, preschool, school age, adolescence, young adulthood, middle adulthood, and old age. These stages are determined by certain ages in a person's life where they experience conflicts that serve as turning points in their developmental growth. The conflicts are concentrated on whether a person is able to develop important psychological qualities or whether they fail to develop that quality. Our client today is a 20-year-old male. From his age, we can conclude that he is a young adult and as determined by Erikson's psychosocial theory. As stated by Erikson's theory, the conflict that our client is currently facing is intimacy versus isolation. This stage takes place between the ages of 19 and 40 and focuses on whether a person can form intimate, close, and loving relationships with other people. Success in this stage is to be able to form these close bonds and achieve intimacy, and failure results in feelings of loneliness and isolation. In interviewing the client about relationships and such, it was found that there is some struggle with intimacy. In reviewing romantic relationships over the past year, the client admits that he had no problem with physical intimacy, and that he rather enjoyed all forms of physical affection, sexual or not. However, he found himself very troubled with emotional intimacy. Intimacy includes sharing a part of the self with loved ones while also remaining true to oneself and having a strong sense of self, which stems from the previous psychosocial conflict of identity versus confusion, and being able to be intimate with others, sexual or not. It also involves making lasting commitments long-term and being able to reciprocate love and care that is being displayed. The client shared that in one relationship he felt that he was losing himself in it and felt uncomfortable continuing on with her in the relationship. In the next relationship, he felt as if he could not bring himself to commit to that person, and also struggled with reciprocating love. The client admits to feeling lonely in the romantic aspect. One way that he can get back on track with romantic intimacy is taking things slower and slowly opening up rather than laying out everything all at once. The client also struggles with familial intimacy. Growing up, his parents provided more rules and expectations and lacked any warmth. He feels even now that he struggles being open with his parents and even his younger brother, only having surface-level relationships with them, which adds to feelings of loneliness and isolation. A way that he can potentially mend his relationship with his family is taking small steps to sharing his feelings and not being uncomfortable with any reactions. Although the client struggles with romantic and familial intimacy, he states that he has no problems when being intimate with friends. While observing the client's behavior with friends, it was found that he showed little to no isolating behaviors. He was able to share parts of himself without feeling uncomfortable or forced to, consistently shows gratitude and affections towards his friends without feeling ashamed or embarrassed, which is surprisingly uncommon for young male adults, and has long-lasting relationships which tend to be a few years or more. Friendship is the one aspect that the client feels that he is most intimately fulfilled. In conclusion, the client is, for the most part, unfortunately failing at this conflict, except for friendship, and is experiencing both feelings of intimacy and isolation. However, the client is still fairly early on in his young adulthood, and there is still time for finding intimacy.